The next and final panel discussion is Scaling Ambition for the Decade of Action in Post-COVID Era. Now I would like to give the floor to the UN Global Compact's very own Ms. Alexandra Tarazi, Senior Manager, Global Operations Relationship Manager, Middle East and North Africa and Eastern Europe Local Networks, United Nations Global Compact. Dear panelists, please turn on your cameras. Alexandra, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Welcome everyone to this final panel of MGGLB Georgia. It has been quite a 2-day conference with really inspirational and insightful remarks from the private sector, from government. So really incredible to see. My name, of course, is Alexandra Tarazi, as Bakur noted, and I'm a senior manager with the UN Global Compact, supporting our local networks in Eastern Europe. On this panel, we're going to be hearing from our representatives leading our local networks in Georgia, Turkey, Belarus, Poland, and Ukraine, who have, of course, co-organized this important conference. So I would like to welcome already Salome Zurabishvili, who you, of course, all know, the Executive Director of Global Compact Network Georgia, Mr. Maksim Padbiarozkin, Executive Director of Global Compact Network Belarus, Mr. Kamil Wyszkowski, Chair of the Board of Global Compact Network Poland, Ms. Melda, Çele, Executive Director of Global Compact Network Turkey, and Ms. Tatiana Sakharuk, Executive Director of Global Compact Network Ukraine. So first, just a quick overview on our local networks and to highlight why they are so critical to the work of the UN Global Compact. We have 69 local networks spanning the globe, and they serve to advance the initiative and its 10 principles at the country level. They really help companies understand what is responsible business and what does it mean in different national contexts. They facilitate awareness raising, capacity building, policy dialogue, collective action, and partnerships. Of course, all of this is really key and critical to accelerating the global goals and climate action. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it to our local networks. And I would like to first start by asking what each local network is doing to mobilize companies around the SDGs on climate action, and specifically towards a green inclusive economy. So if we can start with Salome, and if we can keep remarks to around 3 minutes for each network, that would be fantastic. So the floor is yours, Salome.
Thank you very much, Alexandra. Thank you for this introduction. And I also agree that these 2 days have been wonderful with very interesting and fruitful discussions. And we've heard from the government and the business sector very interesting remarks about how to move forward with the green economy. So what are we doing, the local networks on the ground? We're trying to facilitate the discussions and trying to mobilize the business sector for the sustainable development goals to include them in the implementation of the SDG process. So in Georgia, we have very interesting initiatives. First and foremost, we have a very specific program which is run by the UN Global Compact headquarters, the SDG Ambition, where the companies are trying to identify their own benchmarks for the SDGs and trying to put in place specific strategies and action plans on how to integrate the SDGs on the policy level as well as in their everyday operations. We did launch a very interesting magazine this year in Georgia, Sustainability Spotlight, which, because we heard a lot from different speakers today that awareness is still a problem among the businesses around the sustainable development goals and how to integrate those goals into the policies and operations. So we decided that it's very important that this type of magazine exists in Georgia. It's a bilingual magazine where we talk about the best business practice in the field of implementation of SDGs. And it's a quarterly magazine. And while not only mentioning the best business examples, but also it highlights the policies and the opinions of the leaders from the government and international organizations on how to drive this sustainability movement forward in the country. We are very active in media as well. We are trying to promote awareness among the public as well, because it's very important not only to raise awareness among businesses, but also to create demand on the side of the society. So media presence is also very important. We try to incentivize business sector through Corporate Responsibility Award, Business for SDGs, which we organize every year. And this award highlights and raises awareness among the businesses on what the SDGs are. But the most important part of organizing this award is that we ask the companies to state how SDGs have benefited society, but also how the SDGs have benefited the company itself. So the business case is very important, and highlighting and mentioning it. And last, because I don't want to be I don't want to take long, but it's very important to highlight that we partner very actively with the government of Georgia on promotion of SDGs and facilitation of the private-public dialogue. We have closely cooperated with the SDG Council of Georgia, helping them to put together the private sector contribution report for the voluntary national review process. We are closely cooperating with the Forestry Agency on the ESG assessment of their operations and on the sustainable public procurement. And we are also closely cooperating with the Human Rights Secretariat of the Government of Georgia. And last but not the least, since we're talking today on the climate change, on promotion of eco-innovations among businesses, we recently partnered with the UNEP on the eco-innovation program, through which we try to promote eco-innovation approach among SMEs in Georgia. We're doing all this with the support from the Swedish government and also in partnership with the IFC and the State Secretariat for Economic Affairs of Switzerland. So they're very good partners of us in this journey. Thank you very much. It was a lot, and I tried to keep it short, but I know that I will have the possibility to come back and elaborate more on this question.
No, thank you so much, Salome. And you really exemplified how critical it is for local networks to bring all key partners together. And that's really what our local networks serve, is to be that platform. Thank you so much. So Maksim, the floor is yours. If you can give us a bit of an overview on what the network in Belarus is doing.
Thank you very much, Alexandra. Yes, as a global compact network, we try to develop corporate sustainability in general and, of course, mobilize companies around the SDGs. Sure, we pay attention into climate and green inclusive economy, but during the last year, we worked a lot with also with goal number 3, that is good health, and goal number 16, that is the human rights, because we faced with urgent challenges, and now we still try to cope with them. Certainly, for several previous years, we made efforts for circular economy development. We distributed best practices in this sphere and tried to share international experience. We talked a lot about 3R, recycle, reuse, and repair. And of course, we did it together with local ecological NGOs, because their professional expertise and experience is very important. Last year, we started the SDG Ambition program, and 11 Belarusian companies are taking part in this program now. That is a wonderful opportunity for them to integrate SDGs and specific benchmarks into their business. And of course, we move not only in these directions, but in many other directions. For instance, I always said that transparency is very important in all spheres, because it makes our society inclusive and trustworthy. So I'm talking about reporting and open data. It's quite difficult when you try to achieve something not having the figures and indicators showing the progress. So we tried to inspire businesses and state institutions to be more open and transparent. Besides, we think that impact measurement is very important thing today, and business and state institutions obviously must talk with the stakeholders and try to estimate the achievements and impact. So we take attention for this topic too. Finally, I can say that to my mind, all SDGs are important, and I believe that progress with green economy and inclusive economy will lead to the progress with all other goals. So I think shortly, it is the main important thing we did last year.
Thank you so much, Maksim. And you hit a very good and important point around transparency. And we know indeed that we cannot manage what we don't measure. So absolutely important the work that you're doing around the promotion of non-financial reporting through the Global Compact indeed. Now I'd like to give the floor to Kamil with our Polish local network. Please welcome, and we'd like to hear from you what the Polish local network is doing.
Yeah, fine. Thank you very much for this panel and simply to an opportunity to more or less explain where we are. So I will try to be very brief. With climate issues, we are doing in fact a lot. I just write down here at least 7 points. So let me start with CEO for Climate. So that debate we are organizing every month with Polish Minister of Climate and Environment, Mr. Kurtyka. By the way, the former president of COP24. The UN Climate Summit we had 2 years ago in Poland. The second initiative, Climate Positive, the high-level debate. Here we are simply discussing with politicians mostly where we are with implementation of UN climate policies and how we are integrating this within SDGs. So 2 years ago, so 2 days ago, we had our debate with Franz Timmermans, Vice President of European Commission. The next session will be focused on development banks. The next one with UN climate. So we are inviting our colleagues to join us in 2 months from now. So that agenda is attractive for everyone. So simply people are interested to participate and to observe what we are discussing. The third thing is for all, Green Film Festival. So we are organizing the biggest Green Film Festival in the country. And now, after 3 years, we are present in 13 cities. So indeed, this festival is something really unique. So we are warmly inviting everyone to come to Poland. September is the perfect weather also in Poland, and that festival is something really nice. The number 4, Climate Solidarity Center, we established such a place under the Baltic Sea. And again, that center is also in a very symbolic place where solidarity movement started. That's why climate solidarity is also located there. So in that place, we are simply organizing many events focused on climate issues. Then number 5, green finance, but it's already that was mentioned already. So also we are active in that field. We simply included development banks, commercial banks, Warsaw Stock Exchange, insurance companies, also investment sector to deal with ESG indicators and other related to that portfolio elements. Important, as Maksim says a couple of minutes ago, to precisely measure how to deal with climate policies based on business strategies. And the last 2 points, waste management and water management. So here simply we are producing some reports on that, regulatory reports. So together with the Ministry of Development, Ministry of Climate, and Ministry of Public Development simply and funding. With these 3 ministries, we have an agenda how to reform the country. So simply we are preparing some proposition for internal reforms in these fields like water management, waste management, plus also very important, especially for Poland, the program focused on air pollution. Of course, it's not directly linked with climate policies, but I'm mentioning this also to touch that point a bit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kamil. That's so comprehensive, and it's really interesting to see the very holistic view that you take and the activities that you take around climate action. We hope to join you in Poland, whether the weather is nice or not. Very good, thank you. Melda, can we hear from you on the Turkish local network?
Hi everyone, thank you again for this great event. I congratulate you, Salome, and the whole network for bringing us all the region together. And I'm really happy to be with you, with my colleagues on this panel. I'm sure that this will be an inspiring panel for the next stage as well. We have, as a network, work around SDGs in general, gender, diversity, sustainable innovation and finance. But today I will focus on climate more as the panel will go. In Turkey, the private sector's awareness on climate action and green economy has been growing. There are a few factors here. The first one is the expectations of the stakeholders are actually rising, as everywhere around the world. They're pursuing the companies to act more and more responsibly. Secondly, actually linked to the first one, the companies want to strengthen their place in the global supply chains. And more specifically, the European Union, actually. The EU is Turkey's biggest trade partner, and the sustainability agenda there affects the business practices in Turkey. Hence, I can say that sustainability has become a license to operate in and outside of Turkey. But as awareness rises, it doesn't end up in concrete actions at once. The climate action and the green economy is a very grieved issue here, and we need to handle it in multiple levels. As the network, we asked ourselves how and in what ways we can offer our support. We mapped the needs of the companies with the priorities and our value proposition. We build our strategy on having a strong partnership, providing resources, and becoming a learning and experience sharing platform for the private sector. We said we are going to implement this strategy with a focus on plastics and then on 1.5-degree climate target. On the plastics, we turn to our partners, the hosting agency of the local network, TÜSİAD and BCSC Turkey. We established a business plastic initiative. The initiative aims to support the companies to set a concrete and science-based commitment that will decrease and negative effects of plastic usage. So far, 50 companies, around 50 companies from different sectors have joined the initiative. We provided them with technical support, webinars, workshops. We also prepared a plastic guide for them, Last but definitely not the least, we developed a database so that they can calculate their footprint and submit their commitments. At the end of this month, we are hoping to share those commitments. The last work we're doing is on the GII, actually. We're really hoping that the new GII that we're going to launch next month will meet the needs of the companies in terms of their developing strategy and setting targets. There's a growing attention from the companies, and we'll hope we're going to mobilize their targets and actions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melda. And of course, you made reference to the Global Compact Science-Based Targets Initiative. The UN Global Compact indeed calls on companies to align their targets with 1.5. And so it's really great to see that there's a good movement in Turkey around that. In addition to that, you're also planning on launching the Global Impact Initiative, which is an accelerator program to help companies set those ambitious science-based targets, and also to engage in peer learning sessions to really learn from their peers and from others on how to tackle this important and significant challenge. Thanks so much, Melda. So last but certainly not least, Tatiana, the executive director of our local network in Ukraine. We very much look forward to hearing from you. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Alexandra. Nice to see you all, guys. It's a pleasure to me, at least online. Salome, thank you very much for organizing this perfect event. I'm really glad for the opportunity to talk about our initiatives in Ukraine. Definitely, we do a lot. I would like to talk about just several of our initiatives. The first is dialogue platforms. The next is supporting innovations, GIs, VNR, and partnership. Globally, our focus is to maintain SDG on climate action dialogues with our partners. Global Compact has contributed to these discussions by keeping green innovations and green education high on SDG agenda. Our targets can only be achieved through investments in green economy, but they wouldn't be possible without youth involvement and technologies innovations. That is why our local network supports innovations in different spheres. We work with state-owned funds, we work with state-owned initiatives, we work with private sector to promote innovations in different sectors. Ukraine is part of Paris Agreement adopted in 2015, with its requirement of 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. But this is not enough. That is why the Global Compact Network in Ukraine invites business to join the Global 1.5 Ambition Initiative. The Melda has already told about that. It aims to strengthen the ability of companies to deal with the impacts of climate change through appropriate financial flows, new technology frameworks, and an enhanced capacity building framework. In 2020, Ukraine submitted the first voluntary national review of progress towards the achievement of Sustainable Development Goals in Ukraine. It presents findings of the first stage of the systematic work with the SDGs. It covers adaptation of the SDG in Ukraine, monitoring of the SDG, analysis of key trends, and policy documents of Ukraine. Our network actively participated at the process of drafting the national review. Moreover, we organized public discussions of this review. We provided a voluntary national review of business progress in Ukraine. By this, we wanted to demonstrate how business may contribute to delivering national targets and goals. For the next decade, our transformative pathway in environmental dimension will include amending the environmental policy, developing the waste management system to meet European standards, terminating unsustainable use of land, forest, and water resources. And definitely, the Global Compact Network in Ukraine will be an active partner of those changes. The last but not least, the Partnership for Sustainability campaign. This year, it will be the 4th year when we organize this campaign. The aim of it is to find the best cases of partnership between private sector and public sector, academia, non-governmental sector that promotes ecological, environmental, and social targets and goals. I'm glad to unite all these local networks and their participants that take part at our campaign and award every year. Thank you so much, and thank you for cooperation.
Thank you so much, Tatiana. Very important that you raised the VNR and the important role our local networks can play in really reflecting the voice of the private sector in the VNR and collaborating with government. So it was really wonderful to hear from our 5 local networks in Georgia, Belarus, Poland, Turkey, and Ukraine. And as I had noted earlier, our local networks really do come together to organize awareness raising, capacity building, policy dialogue, collective action, partnership initiatives. And we really heard from our local networks firsthand on how they're bringing that to life in their respective countries. So there's another question that I would like to ask each of you. And, over the past 2 days, we have heard from companies and they've really shown us that it is indeed possible. And of course, also profitable. There is an ROI to adopt sustainable emission reducing plans, even during very difficult times like the one that we're all facing with the pandemic. And we're also indeed seeing strong commitment from governments around climate action and in building out this enabling environment that's so incredibly important to support companies in this just transition. So based on this, what would you say are potential opportunities you see for cooperation and partnerships across our region? And can you speak on any tangible next steps you plan on adopting? So maybe I could start again with Salome, if you'd like to speak for a few minutes.
Thank you, Alexandra, for this question. Very important one. Partnerships, it's streamlined in all of the directions of the Global Compact as well. For instance, we are a multi-stakeholder platform, even though we target business sector, but we try to work with all other relevant stakeholders to implement the SDGs and the 10 principles of the UN Global Compact in the field of human rights, labor, environment, and anti-corruption. So one thing is partnership inside the country, but as you said, another thing is partnership between the countries. And I think this event itself, it's a great example of how our countries can partner successfully and share information and experience on what steps have been taken in order to promote green economy, green innovation, sustainable finance. We have been listening to different actors today on how they have been sharing information about what incentives, for instance, the governments have in order to promote sustainability among the business sector as such and green economy. And the Ukrainian representatives mentioned about the incentives that they have for the business sector. We've heard about different best practices from the Turkish companies, from very good practices from the Belarus companies. The Polish government has also highlighted how green economy as such is kind of a driving agenda for the government. So while sharing these experiences, the speakers have highlighted a couple of times that, for instance, there is a possibility, even in the last panel, there was already kind of a starting point for the partnership between the IFC and the company who was participating in the panel. So that is the reason why we organize this type of events, to learn from each other as a region and also to commence these very interesting partnerships. And I would like to thank once again for this amazing collaboration, all the networks. It has been quite hard to put all these amazing panels together, and I really appreciate the collaboration that we had. It's really amazing. So what I could say that for the future, it's very important to further organize more targeted thematic events. We talked about green economy, but inclusion is one of the main aspects also for the green economy, gender equality and inclusion of the vulnerable groups in this process. And that's what Melda also mentioned, that gender equality and the human rights issues are priority for the Turkish network as well. So that's where we could collaborate and organize different types of exchanges and working group meetings in order to connect our businesses together. We could do more with the joint publications, because businesses need to do more and we need to incentivize them. Well, one thing that we lack nowadays is the collection of these best practices that we already do have in our countries, and businesses are taking steps. So we need to promote these best practices in order to motivate other companies to also engage. And one of the great examples of this collaboration is the partnership awards that the network in Ukraine is organizing every year. And we have been really trying to connect businesses and showcase the best practices in the region through the great initiative that Tatiana is undertaking in Ukraine. So I think that that's what we need to do more in the years to come. And the Global Compact is very, very active in the region. And thank you very much to you, Alexandra, as well for facilitating all these activities that we are implementing regionally. And I really hope to do more in the years to come with all my colleagues here. Thank you. Forward to you.
Thank you so much, Salome. And absolutely, I mean, this has been a fantastic 2 days, and it just goes to show when people come together and great minds come together, there is a great result. So hopefully we will most definitely be organizing more regional initiatives over the coming years. So now I'd like to move again to Maksim. If you can tell us a little bit about the opportunities that you see for cooperation and partnership in the region.
Thank you, Alexandra. I also would like to express gratitude to Salome and Georgian Network for this wonderful event. Unfortunately, we meet together online because I think that if we meet in Georgia, our collaboration would be much more effective. So I hope that next time we will meet there. In general, I can say that collaboration is very important, and not only at international level, but also at local level. And we try to develop this collaboration at local level. And that's a great amount of our work here in Belarus. And in general, I think that innovations are not possible without sharing experience between people, spheres, and countries. It is not possible to achieve any goals without cooperation, collaboration, and sharing experience. So that's why our network and our companies from Belarus, we are always ready to cooperate, to take part in many international events. And we already have a great experience of taking part in this already mentioned event, Partnership for Sustainability Award. Thank you, Ukrainian Network, for organizing this wonderful event. And now we have another experience of taking part in SDG Ambition program together with Russian network. And according to our company's feedback, it is very interesting for them to join their efforts in achieving SDGs together with other companies from other country. Now it's Russia, but other countries is also very interesting for us because it's a challenge to share your own experience and to learn more from others. So that's a great experience of collaboration for us, and certainly it is this particular forum because it's many companies here and many representatives, they share their experiences as best practices, and all these cases are very interesting, and we try to learn from them. And in general, we should collaborate because we should understand how important is this decade of action and SDGs, because as far as I know, we are not on the track now, so we should make plans together because we should achieve our goals together. And of course, this year and last year was not very good because of COVID-19 and all limits because of it. And maybe it's not very good for collaboration when you could not meet with people in person. But from other side, we have now more opportunities. We now all know very well Zoom and other tools which could help us to talk more often with each other. So I think it's a good opportunity for collaboration too, to to meet online and to share our experience online, and I think it should help us to be closer to each other. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maksim. And of course, this panel is around catalyzing action in this decade of action, or in this decade. And we know that, of course, we are still behind, and there's a lot of work to be done. And in order to do that, we need, of course, to set those ambitious goals and at the same time, take those ambitious goals to scale. And it is for that reason that regional collaboration is absolutely critical, bringing actors together under the same set of 10 principles and SDGs. So thank you so much for those remarks, Maksim. Kamil, would you like to jump in on regional collaboration and what you envision?
Yeah, sure. Let me be as pragmatic as I can. But firstly, let me say a huge madloba to Salome, especially that Salome knows that my grandfather was Georgian, so I feel Georgian. So from that perspective, I can only express my the biggest. The warmest emotions, which simply goes to Tbilisi. But skip that part. Let me move to the question. Definitely, international cooperation, regional cooperation is the biggest challenge for all of us. Especially if we are able as a networks to deal with or deal in the context of some regional, let's say, schemes or frameworks for cooperation, like European Union Eastern Partnership, by the way, which is simply cover not only Poland but also Ukraine, Belarus, and Georgia, for instance. And this type of opportunities for regional cooperation are simply crucial. The second example, and that's why we established Climate Solidarity Center under the Baltic Sea, is so-called European Union Strategy for Baltic Sea Basin. So again, here we have a long list of countries where our networks are present and could be active. Some examples. The other way presented. So we have also initiatives like, for instance, Green Railways program. So that program could be transferred from Poland into other countries. As we know, railways are one of the most ecological way to move from point A to point B, especially when we change the source of energy from the traditional, let's say, sources, coal, gas, and oil into the green technologies, like we are simply doing in Poland. In Poland, we are transforming the railways, and the energy will be in 2027 in 87% from solar energy and wind energy. So definitely this program, which we are developing as a Global Compact Network Poland, together with railway sector and Polish ministries, is simply ready to be transferred to Ukraine, Georgia, to Turkey, to other places where simply this model could be useful. So we are simply ready to share that with the others. Of course, we have much more examples, like the Polish hydrogen strategy. So another example, that strategy we developed together with the Ministry of Climate. The other example, offshore or onshore wind power reform. The same example, so simply similar approach could be undertaken in respective countries represented here in that panel. And the last example, what is, by the way, my dream, to be able to meet together all ombudsmen from our countries to discuss the relations between climate change and human rights, especially in the context of recent Professor Philip Alston report on climate apartheid. As you know, Philip Alston is a special representative, UN special representative on human rights. He was asked by Secretary General Antonio Guterres to write down that report was presented in 2019 in the context of UN Climate Action Summit. Wonderful report, very pessimistic, but it's really good to discuss that. And we have an idea to concentrate our efforts together with Polish ombudsman, I hope with other ombudsman in the region, to discuss such an important topic. So maybe that's enough for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kamil. Of course, again, very comprehensive and important to flesh out all the various regional opportunities that can definitely be explored. So thank you for that. Melda, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alexandra. I think this region, we've been sharing this soil for a long time. We have so much in common with history and with culture, with opportunities and risks all together. So collaboration and building up partnerships should be our priority. I agree with everyone. There are a few things I think we need to be on top of. One of them is the whole Paris Agreement. And the second one is, again, as I mentioned, was the new Green Deal. Because I believe that both of these developments will redesign our economies and societies, and it will create new winners and losers. Today, it was really promising to hear strong messages from the ministers and the business representatives on cooperation. And I believe we are responsible, and it's our homework actually, or obligation, to make all these into action and overcome all these risks all together, create a more inclusive economy, utilize bilateral opportunities all together. Right now, we are already, we've taken part with Ukraine's Partnership Awards. Thank you, Tatiana, again, for all the effort, because it was a great reminder for the companies that without partnerships, actually, SDGs, we cannot make them real. Also, the programs that overall the UN Global Compact are running are a great opportunity where we can learn and from each other and work together and create an environment where we can collaborate together. Young SDG innovators target gender equality, and next the climate action, the ambition program. I think all of them hold a great potential in building up partnerships together. Thank you again. Thank you for inviting us, and thank you for the event.
Thank you very much, Melda. Tatiana, would you like to come in with some examples? Yeah.
Thank you, Alexandra. I would like to start from the words of Tur Heyerdahl, who said that boundaries are in our minds. I would like to say that my father was born in Georgia, but his grandfather was from Poland. It means that we are really very close to each other, and we need to cooperate. I'd love to say some words about our green initiatives in Ukraine. Firstly, in April, on the Earth Day, we will organize a high-level dialogue on 2050 climate neutrality objectives for Ukraine. European Green Deal, among others, requires youth involvement and innovations. So during the Earth Day, youth will get a unique opportunity to witness the high-level green economy discussion and be able to participate at the dialogue. I believe in innovations. Ukraine has a huge potential in that. We need to be creative, as we don't have enough money. Within different state initiatives, we see the eagerness of research teams in Ukraine to find solutions that will tackle the climate crisis, restore and preserve our ecosystems, and protect our societies, driving them through sustainability recovery. In 2019, we joined the United Nations Global Compact Young SDG Innovators Program, like Turkey. 10 teams from Ukrainian business created solutions on SDGs. We saw many realized projects afterwards. This year, we have 8 teams from big and small businesses, from privately owned and publicly owned companies. We are looking forward for their innovations and breakthrough discoveries. Regarding the partnership across the region, I would like to work together on promotion of SDG and collaborate and supporting innovations together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks so much, Tatiana, for that. So we're near the end of this panel, and I would like to invite participants to submit any questions that they may have for our local networks. I don't see any questions yet that have come in, but I'll just give it a moment.
While the questions are coming, I can also add a bit about the partnerships, maybe.
Please do, yes.
As we talked throughout the entire 2 days, the partnerships are really key to driving green economy and driving SDGs, implementation of the SDGs. And it has been quite difficult to facilitate those partnerships among sectors, for instance, in Georgia. So this is one of the challenges that I wanted to highlight. It's all, of course, very good, whatever we're doing in our own respective countries, but at the same time, I think it's also very important to share the challenges that we face and maybe to share examples of how those challenges were overcome in different countries. So we have been very actively trying to facilitate those partnerships among businesses and civil society, for instance, and it has been quite an interesting journey. We started this with the support from the USAID. We tried to connect businesses to civil society organizations. We have very good examples of those partnerships, but at the same time, the key problem is the issue of trust between the sectors and this very small number of good practices of collaboration between different sectors. And I think that's what we need to work on to melt this ice between these different sectors and promote those partnerships inside the country as well, among businesses and governments, businesses and non-governmental organizations. So in this regard, we are trying to work on the awareness again. And one of the important initiatives that we launched last year is the Corporate Sustainability Academy in cooperation with the International Finance Corporation in Georgia. We are here facing still the problem. Of course, in the previous panel, Archil Bakradze from Crystal, he mentioned that this awareness issue is more and more not really as much of the problem as it was, for instance, 2 or 3 years ago. But it's still a problem that we face. So this kind of initiatives, the academies, quality education in the field of sustainability and specifically corporate sustainability, I think is a very important issue that will drive this corporate sustainability and the 10 principles that we're trying to promote in the Global Compact with the business sector and help them to integrate this. So these were just a couple of examples that I wanted to share, and I can see that the questions are coming in, so I think I will stop here.
Yes, thank you so much, Salome. We do have one question that's come in around the role of media and how can we leverage it to promote the SDGs. Whoever would like to jump in and provide a response, please feel free. Salome?
Yeah,
sure, but I think Kamil.
Oh, maybe go ahead, please, Kamil. Yes. Okay,
so yeah, so very good question. Indeed, without the media, we are less, let's say, attractive also for the companies. That's good. It's also good to mention. So we have a pure synergy here. So some examples from Poland. We are organizing more or less once per two years a media campaign. Last 2 years we had a campaign focused on air pollution. This year we are preparing our new one on water management, but we are also including media into all our events, not as let's say passive observers, but they are simply with us organizing everything. And also we have every week a so-called breakfast with the media. So we are discussing some issues related with sustainability, mostly journalists dealing with economy and business. So we have more or less 20, 30 journalists from all newspapers, televisions, radios, and we are always inviting a special guest to discuss some, let's say, hot topics related to some new policy, new strategy, or new law, which simply is coming to be sure that simply media will come. You know, when you didn't have anything interesting for them, they are simply skip the meeting. So this pragmatic way of doing things with media are always somewhere there. And a last example, when you are treating media seriously, they are treating you seriously, and especially when you are simply providing them information which is simply checked before, and they get some insights as the first ones. Of course, they are respecting you, let's say, as an organization. So that's simply the way how we are dealing with the media, and that's why we also have some, let's say, nice coverage around simply in Poland. Thank you.
Absolutely, that's very critical to get it out in the open and ensure that the key messages are out there. Thanks so much, Kamil. Would anyone else like to address that question? Maybe you could go ahead, Tatiana. Yes, please.
Thank you. A couple incentives from us. We invited to become participants of Global Compact Network in Ukraine, two biggest media companies in Ukraine, and now they support us with their media support. And the next incentive is to invite businesses, top management at our events. They usually bring their media companies with them, so we receive much more media presence after those meetings.
Very good. Thank you so much. Would anyone else like to jump in? Yes.
Yeah, so a couple of words from our side as well. As I mentioned in the beginning, we are also very closely cooperating with media, and we started this active collaboration after the COVID pandemic, because we thought that there needs to be other ways also to share information. We could not meet in person, so we need to continue to raise awareness among the practices of the business sector, especially during COVID, on how they were addressing the social and environmental issues. And we have been partnering with the first channel of Georgian broadcaster, and also TV, which is also one of the major channels in the country, and co-hosting the TV shows, business TV shows, inviting the business sector to talk about their experience on how they have been dealing with this COVID situation. Also, we were trying to provide weekly overviews of the best examples, kind of a summaries of what has been done during that specific week. We have been also partnering with radios and with the internet media, with the promoting articles on different best practices in the region. So we are planning to do that further in the years to come, hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, I mean, our local networks are doing really phenomenal work around engaging media, because clearly we all know that awareness raising is where it all starts, and so that's very critical
just a quick
to engage.
Remark,
yes, please,
if it is possible. I just would like to say that it is not a very easy question, because you know, to my mind, the most challenging thing is that we should promote SDGs, for instance, in very interesting for public way. And how to do it, I don't know. How to promote corporate sustainability, SDGs, and all things like this in a popular way. So I think we should cooperate with experts from media sphere, and maybe with some agencies, and try to develop some ways. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So we have another question that's come in just 2 more minutes. This has come in around the European Business Association in Georgia, and they would like more information on how to work with the local networks. How do they go about engaging with you?
Thank you very much for this question. We are more than happy to engage with every business association. We could schedule a meeting and talk about the ways of collaboration. Crystal is also our member, and we could, of course, find the ways to co-organize some events together and engage in the partnership. So we would be very happy to do that. So please reach out. We will also reach out to you.
Thank you very much. Well, that brings us to the end of this panel. And I would like again to congratulate all of our organizers, all our local networks for such a successful conference. Of course, the Georgian local network. And this MGGLB has indeed served to foster multi-stakeholder dialogues, yield new partnerships, and explore innovative solutions. And this is just the very beginning, and there's a lot yet to come. So thank you all so much. And Salome, if you would like to close. So thanks again.
Thank you so much, Alexandra, for a great moderation of this panel. Thanks to my colleagues, Tatiana, Maksim, Kamil, Melda. Thank you so much for this very interesting discussion during this panel and for co-organizing this very fruitful event, which was taking place for 2 days. I think we did it without major technical problems, so I'm very proud of us. It was quite hard to do that in Zoom. So many thanks to you. Once again, I want to express my sincere gratitude to you and to the UN Global Compact headquarters staff for making this event happen, really. And big thanks to the speakers, very interesting speakers that we had throughout these 2 days. Their time and commitment, and very interesting the information that they brought to those discussions is very important, and we are going to follow up with them very actively and continue to work and forge those interesting partnerships that we have been talking now in this panel. Once again, special appreciation to the Swedish government for supporting our work on the promotion of corporate sustainability, supporting this specific event as well. And also many thanks to the IFC and the Swiss government for also being our partners and promoting ESG together with us in the country. And once again, last but not the least, thank you so much to my really amazing team in the Global Compact Network, Georgia. It has been a very, very fruitful discussions, and those discussions would not have happened without their involvement. And thank you very much to Lana, Bakur, Etuna, Rati, Nino, Sapo, I mean, everyone. Just don't want to miss anyone. Thank you once again. And now I would like to officially close the Global Compact Network, Georgia, UN Global Compact, and networks from Turkey, Ukraine, Belarus, and Poland event, MGGLB Georgia. And I really hope for further very interesting events and actually hosting you in person in Georgia very soon.